I was wrong. I'll admit it. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Techbit Solutions. Markets pushed up even higher today. So I'm very glad that I still was careful with aggressively shorting the market. Although I didn't want markets to push up to new highs. Again, it doesn't matter what it is that I want or you want. Markets are incredibly bullish. That is the sentiment. And that is what happened today. Let me go ahead and just jump right into it. I made $3,200, and it wasn't just shorting IREN. In today's live trading session, there was one moment that I shorted. There was another moment where I went long. IREN was not even a big player for the day. It didn't really make new highs, right? Kind of just consolidated and stayed in range. For those that like, horizontal patterns, this made it easy to kind of understand overbought, oversold levels. Made $3,200, fully closed out my trade, and I'm not mad about this trade at all. This was actually a very efficient trade. I think in today's earlier video, I was up like 25 or 2,400. I don't know what it was. So I made an additional like $900. Did I have to take the additional trade? No, I just went in with a light position. But nonetheless, I feel like I did fine with Irene. I realized how bullish the market was. And I really think it's because of how busy I was today that I didn't obsess so much about, I need to trade more. And because of how much money I made early on, I didn't care to force more trades. NASDAQ market, again, I thought that the market was setting up for a bull trap. I could not make sense of why markets would push to new highs, right? Government is shut down. There's a series of economic reports that were supposed to be released tomorrow and on Friday, and they're no longer on the schedule. How is that in any way good news? I mean, we have crypto pumping up. And when I saw that crypto is pumping up, that was the red flag to me of like, oh, okay, this is a complete gimmick. It's short-lived. But remember, markets can stay irrational longer than we can stay solvent. So I'm happy I didn't forcefully take a short. Well, let me explain this. My second trade of the day was TEM. And I took a short on TEM when this thing ran up like 4 or 5%. I think I talked about it in my earlier video today. And at one point I was up like $2,000, and then I went long on it, and then I was up over $3,000. I ended the day at $1,400, almost $1,500. I closed out my trade, left myself with my one lucky share because I tried to then enter a short as it went back to retest previous highs. And guess what? It kept pushing higher. So the thing that I just simply should have done a better job with is I think I got too excited knowing that Irene was kind of testing and validating previous resistance levels, right? It didn't make new highs. But remember, every stock is different. So I want to use myself as an example. Just because there was a resistance before here at 86 doesn't mean, TEM was such a different stock today. It was such a different play. It was a runner. Irene was not a runner. This thing, as it tested previous highs, it blew right through that resistance at 86.30 and began to make new highs. I was up over $3,000 and I gave back half of that. So I'm still grateful for it. I ended nearly $5,000 in the green for the first trading day of October. Very happy about it. Closed out my trades. As many of you guys know, I don't like to carry shorts overnight, especially when market sentiment is not in my favor. It's in favor for the bulls, not the bears, right? With that being said, do I still believe that markets should be it doesn't matter what I think, but no, right? My opinion is it fundamentally makes zero sense that market's initial reaction is a rally. Now, like we looked at based off of data does support the case. And I think that's what a lot of people were paying attention to. And maybe what led to this rally is that more often than not, markets always end up recovering from a government shutdown. I was very vocal about that of hey, you don't need to freak out. But normally it does present short-term volatility. We didn't even get that. There's a series of reports that are not going to be released, yet markets are pushing to a new all-time. It's so irrational. So what I need to do better, right? And that's one thing that I just reviewed with my LPP team. Again, for those that don't know, one of my things that I like to do is we like to recap our trades. So I talked about my day, stating that sentiment was bullish today. This made it more challenging when shorting. For a few trades, I went long, but I resorted back to shorting. Just wasn't efficient. I did well with Irene, but TM, since I entered a short again and direction was bullish, I gave some back. I was up 3K on TM and then ended up at 1.4K for TM. Still green, but need to do better by respecting the overall trend. Overall, happy with how we kicked off the month of October. So I think the biggest thing is even on green days, we need to do a very good job as traders looking back and just reviewing like what we could be doing better. I'm never going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. You can pretend to be that, oh, every trade that you took today made complete sense. But guess what? We all know that the market rallying today can mean that the market sells off tomorrow or on Friday. We all know that it makes zero sense that markets are pushing to new all-time highs. But markets are irrational. So regardless of how much I disagree with it, I need to respect that the markets do not care. And that if I don't want to go long, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that I should go short, especially when market sentiment, which is so powerful, is against me, right? You never need to be afraid to take advantage of an opportunity, but you definitely don't have to be naive and trade against it. So that was my biggest takeaway from today, is looking at, hey, I should have respected the trend and the irrational direction of the bulls today and simply just acknowledge that, hey, this thing can continue to pump and it looks like it's going to. Instead of forcing more trades, just let it be, right? We all know that it won't last forever. Eventually markets will correct themselves. And then at that point, that's when I can choose to take action. I still have my long-term positions. I have no intention of selling any of those positions, but I'm priced in very well, right? Like Nvidia, I'm priced in below $100 per share. For Tesla, we're priced in below $220 per share. Like, I have no intention of buying at these elevated levels, but I also have no intention of selling. So just like when it comes down to these short opportunities, if I want to short, as shorting does come at a greater form of risk, I need to do a better job respecting when sentiment is in my favor and when it simply isn't. And I think I would have ended today closer to $6,000, almost $7,000 in the green instead of just nearly $5,000. So again, always areas of opportunity. I'm never going to be perfect, but I love to come on here, acknowledge that, hey, I thought today was going to be a bull trap. Obviously it was not. I can't predict the markets, but I gave my reason why, right? Government shutdown supports, a lot of volatility. Normally in the short term, originally we see some form of downturn and then we see the recovery. This time we saw the recovery, and now I could only imagine if the government does reopen back up, does that mean we push up even higher, even though the shutdown led to another rally? I don't know. So we'll see. I'm going to do my part in keeping you guys up to date. But again, this is something that we'll talk a little bit more about in tomorrow's live trading session. I'm taking every day just moment by moment, just because I know how irrational markets are being right now. And I just want to make sure that I'm prepared. And I think the best way to always prepare is to have cash on the sideline, so when an opportunity does present itself, you're able to strike. The worst thing that you can be is over leveraged on either a long or a short, and then direction turns against you, and then you have either no money to recoup and you get margin called. So just be careful, be calculated, be mindful of that position size. And again, I hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. If you want to tune on in, whenever you're ready, second link in the description down below, and we'll see you then. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team. Happy Wednesday.